Welcome to Political Paradigm. I am Terry Kumi. Today I'm joined by Senator Victor Umeh, the senator representing Anambra Central Senatorial District on the platform of the Labour Party. He is also the chairman of the Senate Committee on our National Identity and National Population. Senator Victor Umeh, welcome to Political Paradigm.
Thank you, Terry, for having me.
I should add again, because I have it's been 2 years since our last conversation, just before
really?
the absolute 2 years. How time flies.
I think it was in 2022.
Yes, just towards before the election.
Yeah.
Let's get into the business of the day, as they say in Parliament, which is to begin with the Southeast Development Commission.
Yeah.
It's been so applauded. There had been conversations even before now about how important the Southeast Development Commission is. This is not the first development commission. So could you talk about what you understand to be the euphoria or the buzz around the Southeast Development Commission?
Yes, the demand and the push for the establishment of the Southeast Development Commission through an act of the Parliament was something that was driven by the need to close the gap in the infrastructural development of the zone since the war ended. You know, the war ended in 1970, and Gowon promised people of that zone rehabilitation, reconstruction, and restitution, the 3 R's, to show that the war had really ended. But it turned out that it was a promise made in vain. From 1970 till it's 55 years now, the war ended. The region had been very badly marginalized in terms of infrastructural development by the successive military regimes and administrations. In terms of provision of infrastructure, the latitude is very wide what the Commission can pursue. And that commission, because it covers the 5 Southeast zones, it's a zonal thing, it will serve as a springboard to bring the 5 states of the Southeast zone together, in pulling their resources together to pursue projects of common interest that will traverse the 5 states in the zone. So it was a very great thing that happened, greatly applauded by our people and welcomed with so much expectation and hope. Okay. But as you know, as Nigerian thing goes, as soon as the Southeast Development Commission was passed and assented into law, all the other zones brought their own bill for the establishment of their own zonal development commissions. The Northwest brought their bill, the North Central brought, the Southwest brought, the South brought, you know, and all of them have been passed now. So everybody is now on the same even ground.
But does it downplay the importance of these commissions, or is it just political balance?
You see, like for me, I do not begrudge any zone having a development commission. But I think all the other zones went in to ask for their own, bringing the advantage, or rather the compensation the Southeast people would have gained by that commission being established for them, because that is the zone that has been largely marginalized and neglected over the years. So all the other geopolitical zones came up with their own requests and approved for them. For me, no problem, no hassles. I've always been in this National Assembly fighting for equity and fairness.
But that reduces the resources, because there have been arguments as well as to whether these development commissions that are being proliferated across the different regions are needed. If resources are channeled to regions that need development based on assessment, would it not be more effective than this proliferation based on political balance?
Well, I would say that everybody wants to take a share of what the commissions can do for others. You know, we first have established the Northeast Development Commission, following the activities of Boko Haram in the northeast, the carnage and destructions that took place there. They first of all came with Northeast Development Commission, and it was passed long ago. Southeast tried it didn't work. For some reason, things have been happening in the past. The zone hardly gets listened to when they complain. But it took the tenacity of the National Assembly members from the zone to keep pushing for this commission. And it's not new because in 2014 National Conference, I was a delegate to that conference in 2014. This issue of marginalization of the Southeast was a topical issue in that conference. If you remember, after all the deliberations, particularly as it bordered on state creation, the National Conference resolved in the first instance that one additional state should be created in the Southeast geopolitical zone to make their state 6 instead of 5. It was aimed at addressing the seeming marginalization of that zone by giving them an additional state in the first place before we now accepted creation of additional states on the basis of equality of zones, geopolitical zones. That was the outcome of the National Conference in 2014. So when we came back with this Development Commission thing, it worked. And other zones came again to look for it. But for me, it is still a great opportunity because if you look at the budget of 2025, the Southeast Development Commission already has 354 billion naira in the budget, and the head of statutory transfers that will go to that commission. You know, so it's a first line charge. 354 billion naira will go to the Southeast Development Commission. Any serious commission will be able to do a lot for the people with that money, irrespective of what other zones get. Northwest, because they have had their own commission approved for them, because of the fact that they have 7 states, their provision in the budget for that Northwest Development Commission was 590-something billion. You know, so let them take it and go and do whatever they like. At the end of the day, it will now be left for the ingenuity of the people who will be running those commissions to use the money for the purpose for which the money was appropriated. That's in tackling developmental issues. So it's not a question of who has 1 trillion. It's a matter of how you channel those resources, tackling the infrastructure deficits in your own zone, like Southeast. Our people are very hungry and very expectant that those things that they have not received requisite attention from the federal government, that this commission with this money will not have any excuse to give them.
I just want to know how optimistic you are, considering the fact that there are 2 states in the Southeast that are in part of the Niger Delta Development Commission. Yes. And we know why that commission was established. And many have questioned whether it has even fulfilled 1/10 of its mandate, to the point where forensic audits have had to be carried out on that commission, with many saying even shut it down because there's no extent to its implementation or effectiveness. So my question to you as we look toward the effectiveness of the Southeast Development Commission is, when you take a look at Imo and Abia, with regard to infrastructure, how much have they benefited from the Niger Delta Development Commission? And why do you think that the Southeast Development Commission would be any different, especially considering the political undertone that may accompany this?
Well, Abia and Imo are in the Niger Delta Development Commission. Mind you, the NDDC is different from the South-South Development Commission, which they have applied for now, you know. But they are in that commission for the simple reason that they produce oil. So they are there as members of the Niger Delta Development Commission because they produce oil. Even Anambra State now has approved and accredited oil wells that ought to join the Niger Delta Development Commission. Some attempts have been made to join Anambra State to the Niger Delta Development Commission because we produce oil in the Obaro oil basin and Aguleri, in Anambra State. We have oil wells there. But they've resisted it, that those amendments sought to include Anambra State in that belt failed. They said Anambra is not in the Niger Delta, but I think it's just a matter of politics and semantics. So now, coming to whether Anambra and Abia and Imo have benefited from the NDDC, they've been getting money. No matter the amount, they serve in the board of the commission. Is
that the point? Is the point to get money?
The point is they get their money. What is important is what they use the money to do.
Yes.
So you hold the government responsible to the extent that monies received have not been properly used to direct development that the money is meant for. And because they've not done well, you will not say that it wouldn't have been necessary to have that commission, for the simple fact that arguments had been that these are areas that produce the oil. They suffer all kinds of environmental degradation due to oil exploration activities. So the monies given to them, the intention was noble, but what politicians did with the money is a different thing. And I think the NDDC has not been able to achieve its purpose simply because of politics. When you begin to create a commission and you run the commission with politicians and people who make appointments use political considerations to make their appointments.
But what is different with the Southeast Development Commission? There are politicians in the Southeast Development Commission.
Yes, you see, that is the same thing that has happened, but I can tell you that it's going to be different. It's going to be different because this is a zone that has been receiving the short end of the stick over the years. Our people will hold them squarely responsible if they don't meet their expectations in terms of the funds that will come there. We know the pains of our people, and those who will manage their affairs will be put on their toes, because we cannot stay by and allow the opportunity lost again. Who are we going to blame for our marginalization in the areas of infrastructural development? Our people are going to drive it wholesomely, and at the end of the day, you deliver nothing. 1 year, 354 billion, we'll have to see concrete achievements. Our people, their eyes are open. The various groups in the Southeast will want to know what will be happening in the commission. So it's not something like the governor, being a man with immunity, can take money that comes from NDDC into the pool. He spends it the way he likes, like a czar.
The commission,
like a czar.
One of the concerns from a lot of people would have to be the level of confidence they may have, especially the opposition parties, states with opposition parties, and implementation of this project. And if we must address the elephant in the room, it would be whether this would not be a political campaign tool for some states.
No. I think if you look at our history, we have suffered together as a people. Political division among the 5 states in the Southeast will have no effect on the activities of the commission. You know why? We are the same people. We are homogeneous people. We are Igbo people. And our people have been crying out loud against their marginalization, going by the word. That we've not been able to get our fair share in the development of infrastructure in the zone. So our people will not come out to begin to marginalize themselves. It will not happen. And for the fact that the governors will not have any role to play in dictating to the commission. The commission people are answerable to the Southeast people. That commission is going to, if properly run, raise the hopes of the people beyond what the governors have been doing. And let me tell you again, looking at the commission, the membership, I can tell you that the people who have been appointed to steer the affairs of that commission are very credible people. The managing director, for example, is a young man, you know, who has attended the best of schools, has been in the development programs of Anambra State, you know, as a young star. He's the managing director of Anambra State Investment and Property Development Agency, ANSEPA, you know. So there's nothing that is new in terms of development economics. And he's a young man that has undergone through so many programs, both in Harvard, in very wonderful, so he's an establishment person. The other people in the commission are people we know very well. They are friends. Even this afternoon, I was with some of them out there. So there are people who can hold accountable. And I can tell you, we'll give them a chance to run the commission, and it's not going to be a place where politicians will go and feast. If politicians have been appointed also in the commission, the politicians are human beings and they know what the people want. We will not allow them to misuse that opportunity which God has given us.
Senator Umeh, you speak about marginalization.
Yes.
I'd like to know from you if you believe that this commission addresses concerns around marginalization, especially with regard to agitations for secession.
Well, this commission will not address everything conclusively, but is a step in the right direction, in the sense that the commission will be in a position to address some of our challenges. There are some that they will not be able to deal with because of the level of funds that will be available to them. If you talk about marginalization, there are programs the federal government has been undertaking, which the federal government can on its own, as the biggest spender, help the zone in driving some of those things. Let me give you one example that I've been advocating for since I came to the Senate, in the 8th Senate, the Eastern Rail Line. That railway line that runs from Port Harcourt through Aba, through Enugu, Makurdi, Kafanchan, Jos, Bauchi to Maiduguri. That's called the Eastern Rail Line. And that is the oldest rail line built in Nigeria by the colonial masters. That rail line is not within the current federal government's railway line modernization program. In 2018, when I came to the Senate, I moved a motion to include Eastern Rail Line in the railway modernization program of the government of Nigeria. And what is that modernization program? To build standard gauge rail instead of the narrow gauge rail which the colonial masters built. The federal government has excluded that Eastern Rail Line from that program till date. Federal government has done Lagos to Ibadan standard gauge rail. Federal government has done Abuja to Kaduna standard gauge rail. Kaduna to Kano standard gauge rail. Kano to Maradi standard gauge rail, ongoing now. Then Itakpe to Warri standard gauge rail. Then this Eastern Rail Line, that is the oldest rail line in Nigeria, government has been playing politics with it. That is the most important economic corridor you can think of. Because that's why the colonial masters did it in the first time, because it links the whole of northern Nigeria. It traverses 5 geopolitical zones: northeast, north central, northwest, because Kaduna is involved, then southeast and south-south is it. So that rail line, when it was functional, was bringing cattle from the north down south. That's the corridor. And from Port Harcourt, petroleum products were moving up to the north through that rail line. And you could imagine the level of savings government had because our roads were spared the pressure of moving these goods up and down. But now, the rail line has been abandoned long ago. So everybody now has recourse to use of roads. That's why we're having tankers falling here and there, killing people, you know. But when we had the rail line functional, such thing never happened. So the need for that rail line cannot be overemphasized. It connects the northeast to Port Harcourt, the seaport. Because there's no other way from the north to shipment ports than to go to Port Harcourt and move your goods overseas. So now it's not been done. I'm talking about marginalization. I've been crying about it this year in the 2025 budget. When the president submitted his budget, there was nothing for the Eastern Rail Line again. I was on a tour because I'm a member of the Senate Committee.
Is it not in the place of the governors in the Southeast to come together, advance a position to the president?
No, he doesn't need the governors to tell president where to build rail line. The federal government can develop the policy on its own and do it. You don't need pressure from anybody.
Not necessarily.
So these are rail lines these are rail lines that have been existing. For the fact that that rail line has been neglected, it is as a result of politics, and that's why I'm saying it is marginalization.
So is that not where the political solution comes in, where the governors can come together and push for that position?
No, it's for the president to do what is right to all Nigerians. If you have anything to share it to all Nigerians. You know, bring everybody. Don't leave anybody behind. For the fact that that place has been left, and all the older rail lines are being, including new ones, is not being built to Maradi in Niger Republic, and the one that Colonial Matters built before independence has been abandoned. So right now, what they are doing is they are rehabilitating the narrow gauge rail from about Port Harcourt to Aba only. From Aba going all the lane way to Medugri, no train runs through it. The tracks are being removed by vandals. Trees are growing on the rail track. So this is the extent of marginalization I speak about. When I speak about it because it is real. So but now that we have a development commission, they may not have the money to embark on such interconnectivity rail line project, but they can conceive it. No matter how much it takes time, one day there will be connection of these states in the south through rail. I don't know when it will happen.
You know the thing about Nigeria is there's always the option of a political solution.
Yes.
And that's why I brought that up. And speaking of political solution, you had talked about the political balance that is needed for the Southeast to have a state, an additional state, especially coming from the 2014 confab. Now we have proposals up to 31 states being proposed across the country. I don't know what you think about that, because it's generating so much reactions and people are beginning to question if the National Assembly is serious to be advancing such a position.
Yes.
But I had also wanted to tie that to the responsibilities of state governments because of the dearth in infrastructure in the Southeast. And it would almost seem as though the Southeast Development Commission is going to exonerate them from that. So I will look at the failure or otherwise on the part of the state governors to develop their region and the call for new states, and then you talk about one more state for a political balance. Senator Umeh, where do we balance state creation and development? Because a new state clearly means that more resources go somewhere else.
I'll come to that. Let me finish with the first question and I'll come to this one. Whether you use a political solution to solve the neglect of the Southeast zone. I think because Nigeria is now one country, it behoves on anybody who is the president of the country to run the affairs of government without any form of discrimination. All parts of Nigeria will become relevant in the scheme of things. In terms of pressure, remember that on the 4th of January, the President, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was in Enugu. And during the interactive session, the stakeholders pointed out this Eastern Rail Line, and he promised them that he will build it. 4th of January. And when he brought his budget on the 18th of January, that rail line was not there.
I mean, it's just
so
2 weeks.
you see to it that it takes the political will of a leader to balance things and carry everybody along.
You don't think it's too early to call?
And build national unity. Remember when the president brought a bill to pursue reversion to the old national anthem. I was one of those who supported the reversion to the old national anthem. I spoke in support of it very well because I believe that national anthem reminds us who we are. It reminds us who we are. In stanza 3, it says, O God of all creation, O God of all creation, grant us just this one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, so that in peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Where no man is oppressed. That's the cardinal stanza in that thing. So if you are doing anything, do it for all Nigeria. It doesn't matter whether it's Shekiri, Warri, outside, Fulani, Yoruba, or anything. Whatever Nigeria has, apply it in improving the well-being of all Nigerians. So those who are neglected will continue to agitate for one thing or the other. Because in the previous question, you asked me whether the South Sudan Commission will help to address the issue of secession or whatever called, the Igbos can no longer secede. The Eastern region as a block, not just Igbos alone, including Cross River and Akwa Ibom and River State, they were all in the old Eastern region that seceded, and the war ended. That chapter closed. It is just the mismanagement of the fallout of that war that you are still seeing these agitations here and there. When people feel excluded from the programs of government, they cry out. When the Niger Delta threatened the government of Nigeria through the Asare Dokubo and his group, there was amnesty. And peace returned to the Niger Delta so that they can explore the oil, So it is not difficult for government to listen to people and hear their grievances and address them. If you address them, it is cheaper and easier for government because that peace that you are looking for that will engender development will be there for you.
Do you think that presidencies were tilting in that direction?
Well,
I mean, it's just been 2 years.
It's been just 2 years, so we give him chance. I know that he's interested in reforms. The president is interested in reforms, and he has to be interested in reforms. We have to carry out a lot of reforms to be able to build a Nigeria of our dream.
Okay.
So what we'll do is that we'll take it by the strides as they come. I know that he's a civilian. He's not a military ruler. So when things get crunchy, he must look at what he's doing and see where to make amends, to be able to have peace. He needs peace to bring Nigeria to the level he wants it. So on the question on state creation, 31 state proposals, he makes a mockery of the process. Remember that the 36 states we have today and FCT were all created by military. None of them was created through a democratic process. The last time Nigeria created one unit of government through the Act of Parliament was when the Midwestern region was created by the Parliament before the war in the First Republic. Midwestern region was created through the Act of the Parliament in the First Republic. Thereafter, the war started 1967, go on, created 12 states. From there, if you're in government and you're military there, you get one state. That's how we got 36 states till date. None was negotiated. None was subjected to any referendum before they came to be. All these states and the local governments, 774 of them, were created through military fiat. No referendum, no negotiation. The military head of state and Supreme Military Council announces that this is what should be. People will start moving lockers and tables to different locations that states have been created. The very proposal the House of Reps have muted, you will see that it's going to be subjected through a civilian democratic process. And the last time it happened was in the First Republic when Midwestern region was created. So now they have put out 31 states as a request, but I'm happy that the Deputy Speaker had clarified. When I saw it, I was laughing, because it's like somebody not looking at the constitution you're operating. This constitution you have, to create a state or additional local government, you go to section 8, go and read it. So it's not something you stay in your room because you want a state, you propose it. By the time you run around Nigeria to get concurrence of 2/3 of the states in the federation through the Houses of Assembly to support any amendment to that constitution, you get tired. You know, it's not feasible. So that is why in the National Conference of 2014, through negotiation, we were able to produce a new structure for new state creation. But at that time, we agreed that one state shall be created in the Southeast to make their own 6 instead of 5. That was unanimous agreement, consensus agreement. But now this one you are doing, you have proposed 31 states. Instead of talking about how to create one state to bring 5 states in the Southeast to 6, or even as we created the Midwestern region, the nearest thing to what happened in the First Republic that gave birth to Midwest region would have been to create an Yoma state from the same axis. If they had proposed an Yoma state and work on it on the basis of equity and fairness, because the Igbos in the western part of Nigeria, add it to 5 states in the south, let it be that Igbos have 6 states. You know, it would have made sense. But now coming to tell me you have a Katagun state, you have this and that, even Northwest that has 7 states now, they have joined in producing more states to be created in the proposal. So they're not averting their minds to the process. You know, it's not something that can be done, and it's something that you can only do through constitutional amendments. So to that extent, I felt that it was a mockery of the process. It was not negotiated, and for Nigeria, anything you want to do through a democratic process, you need to negotiate it. You know,
the undertone to my initial question with regard to the state creation, when you talked about creating the Southeast, is the concerns around underdevelopment, infrastructure depth in the Southeast, and then the creation of a new state. What does that do? If that's just a political solution, what does it change with regard to development at that level or in the Southeast region? Why is the Southeast agitating for a new state for political balance?
No, it's for political balance. Well, for them, it is justified in the sense that Nigeria's resources are shared on the basis of states and local governments. The more local governments you have, the more funds you take through statutory allocation to local government. The more states you have, the more funds you take, for statutory allocation to states. So if you have 5 states, and for example, the Southeast has only 95 local governments and 5 states. So when you go to FAC to share revenue accruing to the Federation, the Southeast zone gets 5 portions for states and 95 portions for local governments. Go around Nigeria and see how many local governments other states have. Yes, other states have. So you see the marginalization I'm talking about, because the military created all these structures. And if you want to balance things, you have to really look at the area of need and where there is justice and the demand. Not that everybody wants additional states. Okay. There's a place somebody is suffering, and we run a structure where even recruitment into the armed forces into the police, into agencies of government. You take people on the basis of states and local governments.
I want to ask you this quick question before we leave this aspect of the
Yes.
Southeast. And it has to do with the unity of purpose of the Southeast. Do you think that exists in the Southeast among the political leadership?
What will I answer you? No place is truly united.
Agreed.
Even the Southwest, let me give you an example. The Southeast, or your state, is governed by the PDP. Osun State is governed by the PDP. These are two political parties. And
I'm speaking specifically
unity,
because of the
unity.
agitations and the calls against marginalization.
You see, what is there is that we remain the same people, irrespective of where we belong in the polity. We are the same people. What we can come together, to pursue things of common interest, irrespective of our platform. I give you an example. In the 2023 presidential election, the whole Southeast, irrespective of the political party that the governor belonged to, all of them voted for Labour Party because of Peter Obi, who was running for president.
No, we're not talking not talking of individuals. We're talking about political leaders.
Political reason. You see, everybody would have been fighting for his party. But the people had common interest, irrespective of their political party.
So it's almost
affiliation.
suggestive that the people of the Southeast may be collective, but they may be operating at cross purposes with the political leaders of the state, of the different states.
Of the different states? No, I don't think so. We, are one of the, without being immodest, I've been involved in the political process in the Southeast for over 25 years. So I know the thinking of our people. I know their perceptions. And they know how they respond to issues of politics because of their belief that they are being marginalized.
So why do you think that the people of the Southeast, as you put it, opted to vote for the Labour Party?
Yeah, because they have never produced president for Nigeria.
The Labour Party has never produced.
No, the Southeast has never produced. I've told you that these are just mere.
So it wasn't the party. It was the individual.
It wasn't a party thing.
It was the individual.
Even if somebody from another party had emerged as presidential candidate and the person is viable, it couldn't have been Labour Party. They would have voted for that person because they were yearning for producing a president from the southeast of Nigeria on the basis of equity and fairness. Towards the run-up to the election, there was this agitation that even members of the PDP, members of the APC, members of ABGA, members of whatever political party were calling for a presidential candidate from the southeast. That it should be, what is it? Is it Emiloko? For President Bola Tinubu. So the Southeast was talking, it's also our turn to produce president for Nigeria. We have not produced president for Nigeria since after the war. So it was a uniting force that nobody can break, not even with any amount of force. The people were so united in pursuing that collectively, irrespective of where you belonged. When Obi emerged as presidential candidate of Labour Party and his movement became strong, members of the PDP were the people organizing meetings everywhere to mobilize support for him. So it's a question of making the field even for everybody.
And now there are concerns that he may leave.
He may leave where?
The Labour Party. Because of this,
have you said so?
I mean, even you. I recall that you had granted an interview where you said that those trying to woo him to leave are wasting their time.
Yes.
So what does this mean? That if he leaves, does this mean?
Politics, let me just tell you, Terry. Politics is very dynamic. What people pursue in politics is their interest. They follow the line of action that will guarantee that interest they have. Leave political names, whatever. Parties have come and gone in Nigeria. What people have tenaciously held on to have been the interests of their people. So tomorrow it may be another party, whichever one that will propel the interests of their people will be the one that will work. People will coalesce there to drive it.
You're saying that he could go to any other party?
No, there's nothing tying him to Labour Party. Yes, there's nothing, absolutely.
Well, what then happens
if with the passage of time, he sees that his objective may not be achieved through what is happening in the Labour Party, will you tell him that he must be there? It is not true. I was in Abga. I couldn't have been a senator if I remained in Abga. I moved to Labour Party and I got to the Senate. I'm here.
Do you think that the Labour Party will collapse if he leaves?
If he leaves? Oh, if P2B leaves, it will be a monumental loss to Labour Party because it was a national movement. If he leaves, the party will become an empty shell. Because what propelled Labour Party was Obi's vision and his way of doing things, and what he was preaching to the Nigerian electorate that made it a movement, and people gathered around him, and it happened.
Will you leave if he leaves?
If Peter leaves?
Yes.
Labour Party?
Yes.
Allow us to
get there first.
Let us be working. Like me, I've been elected to be a senator, and what I'm here doing is doing everything to contribute to national development. If you've been following my contributions in plenary, I'm not against anybody. I'm not against any geopolitical zone in Nigeria. I've always preached equity and fairness to all and sundry. Let what is available go around to everybody. That's the only way you can achieve the unity which Nigeria, is yearning for. Make everybody, even the minority, let the minority be strong in Nigeria, because somebody from a minority tribe can have the sense of mission and purpose for this country, become a president, and do things to the astonishment of everybody. Remember Bill Clinton was from the state of Arkansas, a small state, and he became president of America. If they're playing the type of politics, if we continue to play the type of politics we play here, where if your tribe is large, their tribe must continue to dominate the polity. It is a cake way of thinking. Jesus Christ came from Nazareth, a small city in Jerusalem, and became the savior of the world. From that obscure place he was born, in a dog's manger, he became the rallying point to save mankind. He didn't come from the big cities in Judea. He came from a small city, Nazareth. So it is like that for Nigeria. Nigeria should be able to copy that model.
Since we're talking,
so that somebody who is from, we have almost 300 tribes in Nigeria, 300 ethnic nationalities. Let us for one day have a star, a meteorite, coming from the smallest tribe in Nigeria.
But how is that possible with our political party?
It's possible.
No, the political party processes. I do not think that...
We are suffering. Nigeria is suffering. People have been, the cleavages we have had in the past, they are not as strong as they used to be going forward, because the youths are coming up and they're beginning to revolt from the things they are being indoctrinated into.
But to be a candidate for a party,
yes,
you have to first pass through the party processes.
Yes.
And we know that the party's processes do not entirely favor, as we put them, minorities.
Well,
so that means there has to be a change.
If you draw from the experience of 2023, you will know that the way Nigerians think now, the ways they think are changing. There was one meeting we had for an alliance, bringing two blocks together to go into that election with Labour Party. I was one of the 3 people that represented Labour Party in that discussion. And when we got there, the other side was adamant that P2B will not get up to 1 million votes in the presidential election, that he has no vote. I was so incensed by that claim, and I told them that they are living out of reality, because they are trying to put a position to us that was not acceptable at that time, producing a president from northern part of Nigeria after Buhari's 8 years. And they want to go there for Peter to become running mate. I said it will be the other way around, because it is the South that should produce the president if you really want what Nigeria to continue.
Okay.
They didn't see to it. When the election came, the result was opposite of what they projected. P2B from result declared got 6-point-something million votes. The person who was saying he had all the votes got 1-point-something million.
do you think that...
So people are shifting grounds. Peter almost got it, and he slipped away, you know. So it shows you that people are beginning to follow modern trends. The minds of the youths are no longer the minds of my own generation, those who are above 60 years. You know, people want things to work. And if that is the case, I'm predicting that in a no distant time, Nigeria will begin to see candidates for elective positions, not on the basis of tribe where you come from, but on the basis of competence. Because the world is not waiting for Nigeria. The world is moving, and our people are going out, you know, getting education. All parts of Nigeria now, if you send children outside overseas, they train and come back, they imbibe that culture. Look at the tax reform bill that the president brought. I was one of the people that supported the tax reform bill. You know, some people hated me for that in this chamber because I said that I've not seen anything in this tax reform bill that is inimical to the progress of Nigeria. Instead, it will enhance development. It was my fair and firm view. I canvassed it both on televisions and the newspaper interviews. They were calling me all kinds of names, and I was watching. The other time, the governors met and accepted that tax reform bill was well-meaning. And I saw one young man, Yusuf, on channels on your television, debate somebody from Kano. The way he was exhibiting his intelligence, you will know that his brain is no longer a colonial brain. It's no longer a brain of Nigeria's divided purpose. It was very objective, dissecting the issues with, very pristine knowledge. You know, this is the type of Nigeria we are waiting for. It may not happen with us, it may not be possible with us, but I know that in 15 years' time, okay, if you want to be president of Nigeria, you go and prepare. Don't come and tell somebody you are from northern Nigeria or from your western Nigeria or from wherever you come from. The people of Nigeria will not accept such situation.
Absolutely.
They want government that will address their needs, their national problems, national needs, get people in school. Let there be drop in number of people that are out of school, children. Bring the children to school. Do massive education of the youths everywhere, you know. So if you've been following me, you'll see my arguments on plenary. When they were talking about what was happening in the Northeast and all that, I told them that the governors are failing. What you owe your people is education. Because you cannot tell me that if you go and kill somebody, you go to heaven, and somebody will just believe it. So it's something that education will cure. If you massively educate the people, they will be able to make informed and wise choices.
Absolutely.
You know, to create the type of leadership we need.
Just as we wrap up this discussion, let's quickly talk about Anambra State, your state. The election comes up at the end of the year.
8th November.
8th of November this year. And the political activities are already picking up. And I don't know if you're concerned about the chances of the Labour Party. I say that because you have your feet planted in Anambra State, especially right from the Obi era.
From Obi.
I think this is perhaps the only governor, even though you say you supported or helped Governor Soludo to get there.
I was everywhere with Soludo.
So I'm really curious as to where your loyalty lies as you go into the election. I mean, a Labour Party man and a governor that you supported. I think you recently commended him as well for, I say you had no regret supporting him.
Yes. Let me tell you, at my status now, I think about the well-being of my state. Not purely partisanship. What I want to work in my state is progressive development of my people. Let the state be in the lead of the states in this country, because we have the human resources. We have very capable people in that state. The state has not been in short supply of geniuses and the people of all caliber, both in commerce and in the academic, in academia, in any phase of life. Anambra State has people in abundance. So it's a state that should be run very properly. And in the past 25 years, I've always been on the progressive side, trying to withstand even very powerful forces. That's how I led ABGA as chairman. And with ABGA, we were able to win governorship in Anambra State back to back through P2B. I drove the process. We were able to win governorship in Anambra State through Obiano back to back. And my tenure ended. I stayed behind to help push Soludo into office. I worked very hard to ensure that he became governor. One, I was convinced he was the best candidate at that time. And my support is always given to somebody I consider that will work very well for the people, devoid of politics, you know. Because they are human beings, they can make mistakes and take wrong decisions because they're not infallible.
So what does that say now? Do you still stand with the Labour Party ahead of the election?
I'm a member of Labour Party.
Or
listen, I'm coming. It depends on who you field. I won't follow an idiot to go into an election.
So your point...
Or somebody, let me tell you succinctly, I'm not going to be forced into supporting a candidate, in my view, will not win the election in the first place. You have to win the election first to go into office. I know those who have the capacity to win. I know the relative strength of everybody because I know the structure of politics of the state. I know the role stakeholders play in the politics of Anambra State because I've been part of weaving these things around every election. So I know that there are cells of influence in who becomes governor of Anambra State. It's not about coming out, here I am, send me, I want to go. No, it's not like that, you know.
So your support for the candidate of the Labour Party would depend on who
they produce.
Emerges.
Who emerges, yes. They know that for sure.
If the quality of the person...
If you call me to come and be part of something that is not viable,
is it the viability or the quality
you
of
have
the person?
To win. The quality.
The quality of the person or the viability of the...
Your quality will determine your viability. So everything is embedded.
You know, a popular person may not have the quality
not with
for
me.
it.
I know all of them.
Okay.
There's nothing like a popular person
in
this matter because you said I commended Soludo recently.
Yes, you did.
Because of the security. Our people, we almost lost our state. People were being killed and everybody ran away. And suddenly he came with this new security architecture. If you've been following the activities in the past 2 weeks, almost all the criminals are being rounded up on a daily basis. That is what people were yearning for. You know, you cannot stay as governor and your people are being killed, abducted, killed and dumped on the roadside, and nothing happens. When they killed 12 people at Nibo in my constituency, Anambra Central, I came out very hard on the governor. I told him that the security of lives and property is the primary purpose of government. And that in this area you have failed. And let your people not start attacking anybody who says there is no security, because there is no security. And now he sat up. I've started seeing people killed. Look at the House of Assembly where we're going to bury on Saturday. He disappeared on the 24th of December. No trace of him. Until last week, Thursday, his decomposing body was found. It was due to the resurgence in the efforts of government to tackle crime. And it's paying huge dividends. The way I play politics is not for me to say, hey, this man is a member of ABGA, or maybe I'm not in good, very rosy terms with him, you know, and now say, oh, I'll be blind to what I have seen that is positive. I said, yes. What you are doing now is what is expected of you. I don't need to say or turn a blind eye to this renewed effort, which is helping us to regain confidence.
Very well.
That our state is there for all of us. So when we get to the river, not bridge, when we get to the river, we cross the river because the bridge is not a challenge.
Senator Victor
Umeh. You can walk through a bridge. But when you go to a river that has no bridge, you devise a means of crossing it. So the election is coming up on 8th of November. The whole place is there.
Your party would have its primaries in April, I believe.
April 5. I've seen an announcement April 5, but the party is also having internal crisis. That's why I'm telling you. It depends on who comes out, you know, and that's it.
Senator Victor Umeh, our time's up. I thank you so much. Always a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
And I wish you well the remaining 2 years of your tenure. It's halfway now. How time flies. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, that's all the time we have on Political Paradigm. I've been speaking with Senator representing Anambra Central Senatorial District on the platform of the Labour Party, Senator Victor Umeh. If you'd like to catch this episode all afresh, go to youtube.com and search Political Paradigm or simply go to channelstv.com. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.